teams from North Texas in the hunt for state titles. And one man who's familiar with all the top teams around here is Kenny Matthews of Friday Night Glory, who joins me now for a state preview. Kenny, thank you so much for coming on.
Always a pleasure to be on with you, Taylor.
And it's certainly always our pleasure to get you on here. Let's get right into it. Several North Texas teams left in the finals. So let's start with Duncanville in 6A Division I. They meet up with North Shore for the fourth time in the state championship game. Do Duncanville and head coach Reginald Samples finally get the win?
It's our annual play. I guess we could just, sign it up at the beginning of the year that Glen Park, North Shore, and Duncanville are going to be playing in the finals now at Jerry World. Wow. Who would have thought that Duncanville, I think, was an underrated #1 team in the area for so much. Not a lot of people talked about them, but the way they're running the football with Caden Durham and the way they play physical football, they're a carbon copy of Glen Park. So it's going to be imposing their wills on each other come Saturday night. And I think this is the first time that Coach Samples will hoist that trophy over his head. Duncanville by a small margin.
Well, I know everyone up here in the North Texas area rooting for a coach as quality as Coach Samples to finally get that state championship win. So that'll certainly be a good one. 6A Division II, Duncanville's district mate DeSoto looked very impressive in their win against Geyer. Any reason to believe they lose to Vandegrift?
Well, the one thing that Vandegrift will pose some problems with them is they're very good against the run. And DeSoto really does want to run the football. They got the Wisner kid riding and Druid guys. They're going to try to run the ball even with the quarterback back there in the RPOs. That's the one thing I think Vandegrift will give them a little bit of problem there. But if DeSoto's offensive line and their defensive line play with chips on their shoulder like they did yesterday, nobody's beating DeSoto, because that was a control of the line of scrimmage game that I hadn't seen against a Geyer team in a very long time. So I think DeSoto will be winning. I think that little hub over there is going to have two parades going on next week.
All right, in 5A Division I now, another good team, Aledo, getting a very gritty win over Longview. And you see them getting past College Station for title number 11.
Coach Buchanan's done a great job. I mean, think about, they started the year off 0-2. There were a lot of questions in Aledo about how good they were going to be, if they were going to make the playoffs or not, which I always thought that they would. But here they went. They went to beat the favorite this past Friday night in Longview. Now they're taking on College Station. College Station lost a tough game in the finals last year. Something about this College Station team I'm really starting to buy into. I'm going to pick College Station. I'm going to make my Aledo people not too happy about that. I'm going to pick College Station in a very close game to win.
Kenny, that's one of the things we appreciate about you most. You're a straight shooter. We go down to 5A Division II. South Oak Cliff has overcome every obstacle thrown their way. Now they have one final one in Port Neches Groves. Do you see them making it back-to-back titles out of DISD?
That defense South Oak Cliff reminds me of the 85 Bears. They're just great. They're a wall. I think Port Neches is going to have a hard time really trying to get any kind of positive yards against that South Oak Cliff defense. Because South Oak Cliff can just run the football and not have any turnovers in this game. I think we're going to have a repeat over there in South Oak Cliff. And if you thought it was a fluke last year, I think they're going to be hoisting that trophy again this year to get rid of all that talk.
We go down to 3A Division I. Brock, what do they need to do to beat a Franklin team that's gone almost 2 seasons without an L?
Brock needs to play their game, a deliberate game. Do not turn over the football. Take time off of the clock, not make any mistakes. And they're going to have to sell all out for the run, because Franklin may have the best rushing attack in the state of Texas. And I know it's 3A, but those guys run downhill from the time they leave the locker room to the time that they walk back to the locker room. It's going to be a tall order, but I do think that Brock, when they play football, it can stymie the Franklin team. I think that they play that kind of deliberate style that can get Franklin off of their rhythm. I think that's going to be the key to the game there. But I do think that Franklin will be back-to-back state champions against this weekend. And unfortunately, Brock, I didn't want to pick against you, but that's just the way I'm feeling right now.
All right, Friday Night Glory's own Kenny Matthews. Kenny, thanks again so much for coming on.
Absolutely. Merry Christmas to you, Taylor. Always a pleasure.
All right. Team of the Week is coming up next.